So I had no idea, not a clue what this means. Like you said, I'm a mechanical engineer, went to the dark side with an MBA. This is code, right? And considering I'm a first-time entrepreneur who started a consumer web business, this is pretty scary. This should be pretty scary. It's a huge uncertainty in the business for me. But that's what a startup is. You manage uncertainties. The principle of uncertainty says that as soon as you measure something precisely, you can less measure other things precisely. So this explains what a startup is. You think that you can build a process and everything else falls apart. So there have been discussions about, is it nature or nurture to train entrepreneurs? I don't get into that discussion, I think it's both. But one thing is for certain, you have to be able to perform in unknown circumstances. And that's what you do. So if you're a family guy like me and Peter, you have two types of uncertainties that you have to deal with. You have to manage the business, and also you have to manage your personal life, right? You have a family, complicated family. So I just one quick suggestion about the personal side, because I find that business is actually easy. Now I'm feeling pretty good about managing uncertainties on the startup. But in the personal side, I find it to be really good to communicate with your spouse, your kids, your teenagers, because you want to share the passion with them, you want to share what you are going through with them, and you'll be in a much better place. Because as entrepreneurs, sometimes you tunnel. You say, I'm going to fix this, I'm going to do this alone. And I think that's the worst thing you can do in a startup, especially if you're a family. So I tried to talk to this guy, 14 months old, like he figured he can break things, so he's not listening, that's fine, I have time. But my 4-year-old, she started asking questions. She's a kid, 4-year-old, and she's a female, so she's pretty good at asking questions. One day I was leaving for work after coming back from work. I said, honey, I have to go, I have work to do, I'm going to camp at the coffee place. And then she said, Daddy. And then she said, you're going to make money, right? And I said, well, yes, but no, not immediately, hopefully in the future, eventually, that's the whole goal. There's this recession thing going on, we are bootstrapping, and we have a new version coming up. And she was like, what? And I can feel like in her eyes that 10 more questions are coming to me. And I said, honey, you know what? I want you to have a hot chocolate. How about hot chocolate? I want you to have one right now so that I can just, go and not communicate with you anymore. Because that's going to be tough. But please do communicate with the kids, do communicate with the spouse, do communicate with your family, because that's what you want. You want to share the passion, and you want them to learn what the basic principles of entrepreneurship are, so that I don't want them to come to me after graduating from college and say that, mom told me that you started a business, but I'm thinking about, starting one myself. How was it? If you just show up at work and and then go home and don't tell anything, don't share, I think that's the worst thing that you can do to yourself and your family. So the serious topic about managing the business side of the uncertainties, Nassim Taleb in his book The Black Swan talks about highly improbable, unpredicted, but high impact events. It's not a stretch to make the connection to startups such as Google, Amazon.com, or Facebook. And there are 2 pages in that book that I related the most. Those are the pages that talks about the social pressures of trying to create a black swan activity. So if you're an entrepreneur, you are trying that, and he talks about the pressures, because if you try long enough, people will call you losers, right? So you don't want to be alone in that journey. He says, if you are not engaged in a startup activity or a black swan dependent activity, it's better to be part of a group. It's better to be part of a culture. So if you think about Silicon Valley and other entrepreneurship clusters throughout the nation, there are people who are pretty good at managing uncertainties of the business. So that's kind of what you should do. You should surround yourself with the right people. this code that I showed you, I'm not worried about that because my partner is CS, computer science. He's pretty good at Python and he codes that, so it's fine. My wife, who's the other co-founder in the business, is a great marketing and outreach person, so she manages that part. And we have great advisors and investors in the business so that we consult to them and they help us to better manage the business. So this is not a success formula. This is my formula and leave it or take it. But this is the formula for your startup to make progress. Because if you try, hopefully you'll catch that break and startup will take off. So the formula goes like this. If you are passionate about what you do, if you have a good idea and you work, you'll get a lot of support. You'll find employees, you'll find people who trust you and believe in the vision. Those could be investors, advisors, those could be service providers, suppliers. And then the more you work at that problem, your idea gets better. And you find more work because other people will join you and help you. But if you're not passionate, right, the whole thing falls apart because level of support that you'll get, I think, will be zero. You, as people, you can tell when someone is not passionate. You can tell on the phone, you can tell in an email, you can tell from the product or the service. Why would you spend your time with something or someone who's not inspiring? So I guess that's the formula that I have, because the more people you get involved into business and getting more support, I think the higher the chances that one day the startup will take off. So my solution started rock band, right? Mr. S, in his role as a fake sub-teacher in School of Rock, the movie, is very passionate about rock and roll, right? And he's trying to convince his talented students that they should start a rock band together and they should participate in this competition. And this is his motivational speech. He says, it looks easy, but nothing could be harder. It will test your head and your mind and your brain. So my point is, please start something you love so that people know you are passionate about it and don't do it alone. Thank you.